Christopher Daniels, and the gospel according to the fallen angel says that you are listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, and we're back. We have returned, everybody. We don't have Kevin Kelly. Sorry.
We don't have Kevin Kelly yet.
He's probably running for the border or something.
I think so.
I don't know.
I think so. He called me about 2 hours ago. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know what happened. He might have talked to me and just, got nervous and took off.
Just a little complications, but we do have a caller on the line.
Yes, who is this?
Hey, this is Jay Huddy from the chat room.
Hey, dude, how's it going?
Not too bad. I was kind of wondering you guys' view on Rey Mysterio going over at Mania.
Oh, hold on. We've got a caller here.
Another caller.
Yeah. Hey, I believe this is Kevin Kelly.
It is Kevin Kelly. How are you?
Oh, we're good. We're live. Welcome to the show. Welcome to In Your Head.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I was late because I knew this. I had a feeling this was going to happen. We're doing this great charity auction tonight here for Pocono Medical Center in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And so all of us get together every year and we do this, and invariably somebody doesn't show up. So what do? They go, let's put Kevin on because he's been on TV. So, of course, that happened right off the bat this year. The first guy, right out of the chute wasn't there. And so I had to jump on and be on TV.
Ah, cool. So what are they auctioning off?
Oh, gift certificates. It's a lot of local stuff.
Oh.
So people, gift certificate, get your hair cut, take your girl out to dinner.
Right.
That kind of stuff. And the money goes to a good cause. It's a nice thing that we do every year. So I'm glad to be part of it.
I thought maybe they were auctioning you off.
Yeah. They want to make money.
Yeah. With Kevin Kelly.
They'll go broke if they worry about that stuff. What's going on, fellas? We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we actually have a caller here. He was just asking us a question. We cut him off, so let him finish the question.
I was just kind of wondering your thoughts on if Rey Mysterio is going to go over at Mania for the title.
Oh, okay. We can all answer that one. Did you hear him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
I think originally that was probably the plan.
They've really downplayed the Eddie stuff lately, haven't they?
Yeah, I think because it's really starting to turn on Ray. The fans are starting to turn on. I noticed that on SmackDown.
Hello?
Hello?
Yep.
Can you hear us? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, my phone just went completely. Hold on.
Oh, man.
Oh, excellent.
This would be in your head without a lot of problems.
Now we're back.
We love the technical problems here.
That's good. We're good to go now. I don't see Ray winning. That's a flip of the coin type of thing. It would be nice if they did, but I don't see them doing it. I have a feeling Kurt's getting the belt.
Yeah. I think, if they wouldn't have done all the Eddie stuff and they would have saved it for Mania, have Ray win the belt, and then just have him, dedicated to Eddie, that would win over well. But just hyping on Eddie for months, I think it's turned the fans a little bit on Rey Mysterio.
Well, it was a truly tasteless thing that they really didn't need to do because you have a great underdog and a perennial favorite in Rey Mysterio that everybody loves, and him winning the Royal Rumble, whether it was dedicated to Eddie or not, it didn't need to happen. Mm-hmm. The Royal Rumble has told great stories in the past, and Ray was just another one.
Yeah. A lot of people think, he's in the main event just because of the Eddie stuff, but I really thought he should have been the main event like a year ago. Yes, he was really over with the crowds, and he's, great merchandise seller.
That is true, and the kids love him. But I think there's always going to be that stigma of, boy, he's only 5'2" or 3, and it's just like, geez, it looks like child abuse sometimes when he's in with a bigger guy,
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are, people who are for Ray and against Ray, in terms of him being the champion main guy.
Mm-hmm. He had a good match with Fit Finley last week on SmackDown.
No, but you can't have a bad match with Fit Finley. He's awesome.
Right.
We actually have
Get the hell out of you now.
Yeah, we actually have a message board question, and he's asking, what do you think of Fit Finley?
I love him. He's awesome. He would have never gotten out of the ring if he didn't get hurt. And again, it's just capitalizing on a great mind that they've done with him over the last few years. He really helped build up the women's division, but now that's kind of begun to wane as the number of good female wrestlers has depleted as well. His skills at this time are better suited for being in the ring, and I mean the proof is in the pudding. He's not your stereotypical WWE star, 6'4" and ripped to the gills. He's in good shape. He's tough. He's tough as nails. He's one of the toughest men walking this planet. And, some people say he looks like your grandfather. Well, he'll knock the hell out of you.
Were you surprised they made him, a pretty big star there and he's getting over? Because I always liked him in WCW, but he was really never over there.
Yeah, well, they're giving him a good push so he can elevate other guys along the way. Keep in mind who he's been working with. He's been working with Lashley and spending a lot of time with him and bringing him along. You can see that. A great veteran influence put with the younger guys. That's what the wrestling business is all about.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think is going to go over Huddy?
I honestly think Angle's going to retain the title. I just don't think Rey Mysterio will be a believable champion for WWE. And a lot of people think he's going to win the title because they're saying, POD is going to be there to play his entrance music. And
right. I think if he won the belt, I think it would have been more just for him winning the title, then he would have lost it quickly. I don't think you could really have him be the champ and defend it a lot.
Yeah. I just think with Triple H, he's definitely probably going to go over at Mania, so I don't think they're going to have two world title changes in the same night.
No. So tell everybody that Kevin Kelly's going to be at the big MXPW show, Lord of the Rings.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. What a time that's going to be.
That's Saturday, April 29th at Boca Raton, Florida. MXPW.
Have you guys ever been down there?
No. Casey asked us to go down there.
I'll tell you what, there's no better place in the world to be than South Florida in the month of May, because it's not quite beastly hot yet. And the beach is great. The weather's perfect. It's usually dry that time of year, so you're going to get a lot of sun. It's wonderful. And, the Lords of the Ring is a great concept. 8 teams, some of the greatest teams in the independent world, some real rivalries, some personal issues, especially between Trent Acid and Homicide, who legitimately hate each other's guts and are, I have a feeling, going to cross paths along the way.
Mm-hmm. We had Homicide on here just about a month ago. He's a really good guest. Trent Acid's always a guy I never understood why he's not in TNA or WWE.
I think he will be. I think his time is coming, and I think you're going to see a lot of the guys that are in this tournament being signed over the next couple of years. The Briscoes, I think, have a great chance of being signed. And, the SATs have been around for a long time, and I think they're looking to improve. They were there, TNA, at its onset. And I don't know what happened, whether it was injury, whether it was, a little bit of burnout, a combination of a few things. But they needed to go back to the drawing board, and I think they've done that. I think the best for them is yet to come.
Mm-hmm. And another team, Donovan Morgan and Mike Modest.
I got a lot of respect for both guys. I watched Donovan Morgan win the ECWA Super 8 a few years ago, and Mike Modest is a guy I have tremendous physical respect for as well. Spent a lot of time over in Japan after growing up, coming up in the business over on the West Coast, and that is one team that if they don't win, they're going to make their impact felt. They're going to leave their mark on whoever it is that they compete against. So if you draw against Morgan and Modest, you may win, but chances of winning 2 matches after that could be tight, because I'll tell you, they're just going to beat the hell out of you. It's going to be one of the best things to see all night.
We brought this up last week. You said about the Super 8. Do you think this could get over as like the tag team of Super 8s?
I'd like to think so. It's, again, when you're talking about the Super 8, that is the pinnacle in terms of independent wrestling, one-night events, and tournament settings. Nobody does it better than Jim Kettner, and I think Casey knows that. I think he would like this to become as good as the Super 8, but what makes the Super 8 is that it's great year after year.
Right.
The Lords of the Ring is a unique concept that it's tag teams, but I think they have a ready and willing market, and people want to see good tag team wrestling after, especially what the WWE's done to it over the last few years. And let's put the love back in the tag team division and let's see what we can do. But I think they have the opportunity to create a tag team equivalent to the Super 8, but it's going to take a long time.
Mm-hmm. You do the commentary for the group.
Yes, I do. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Are they going to put this out on DVD?
That's one of the things I'm looking forward to the best is that, we want everybody to, of course, all the fans in South Florida, we want them to turn out to see this great event. It's in a beautiful arena. The Brewer Arena on the FAU campus is gorgeous. It's 5,000 seats. The tickets are relatively inexpensive for all the entertainment that you're going to get. But those that can't make it down to South Florida, I know people are going to be coming in from I've heard from fans in the UK they're going to be coming. But if you can't make it, don't worry, because you will be able to own the event on DVD. So that's going to be special.
Mm-hmm. You said about you don't really see tag team wrestling, and well, you see it in WWE, but it's not really important. You think that's something people like to see? You know, a lot of people grew up watching tag team wrestling.
Yeah, and I think that's especially down south. I mean, it's something that fans have always treasured and loved. And tag team performance has diminished over the years because not enough time is given to them. No interview time is given to them, and it's very frustrating and it's very disheartening. As a fan of the genre, just imagine if the only movies that were made were just comedies or just action movies. If that's all you got, fans would think, whatever happened to the movies that they used to make? And it's the same thing with the style of wrestling. If you don't see it anymore, you want to see it. And good tag team wrestling has a place. And you throw 8 respected teams in a one-night setting, a tournament, Lords of the Ring. I mean, that name has a lot of symbolic value too for fans down in Florida as well. So I think it's a lost art, but one that's not dead yet.
Do you watch TNA at all?
I do from time to time. I never really watched it at all. Now I caught it occasionally on Impact. I've always been such a huge fan of Christian that when he started down there, I wanted to see what they were doing with him, and I've gotten kind of hooked on it. The six-sided ring kind of throws me. It's taken some getting used to. But I appreciate what they're doing. They've got an uphill climb. I think personally they're trying to be a little bit too much like WWE in the style of television that they are producing.
Yeah.
I think that since wrestling is their strong suit, that they need to focus more on the ring action and less on the backstage gaga. But I don't know anything because I'm on the outside of the business. But I know personally what I would like to see.
Right. What guys there do you think they should build around?
Well, I mean, I think obviously the X Division guys are the ones that are going to be the difference makers in an industry that needs, a kick in the rear end. Things have gotten a little stale, and the X Division guys bring a different mindset, different style, different action, and I think that's the next trend in the business. So since to me it's the next trend, let's get on board and let's do it now. And it's something that the E isn't doing.
Right.
So if you really want to make a difference, and you want to say, hey, our product is different and better, then it has to be different. And the fans will decide if it's better. I think the in-ring action that the X Division guys produce is as good as anything you're going to see anywhere. So why not exploit it and let's really take advantage of it?
Right. Do you have a question from the message board?
Glaugo, he wants to know which announcing team do you think is better at WWE, Raw or SmackDown?
Well, I think that if Jim Ross is on Raw, that the Raw team is better than SmackDown. But the way it's set up right now with Coach and King and Joey Styles all fighting and tripping over each other, and it just doesn't feel comfortable. Cole and Taz are head and shoulders above them. I think probably the best team overall is JR and Taz, if they combine the two. And I'm glad to see that JR is going to be at WrestleMania. Cole and Taz have done a great job. They don't get to call much on SmackDown. You want to talk about making chicken salad out of something else. They have to work 10 times harder than any other team I've ever seen to try to make something good out of half of what they do on SmackDown.
We got Boogeymans and Pirates.
I like the Boogeyman.
I love the Boogeyman.
I think Boogeyman's awesome. He just comes out, does his thing, people love him, and then he goes away.
Yeah.
It's the next version of The Undertaker.
I don't know about that. But,
yeah, it totally is. In my opinion, it totally is because he is just a straight character, and the less that you see him, the better.
Yeah. You think maybe you think since that got over is why they keep bringing out all these crazy gimmicks? They think they'll all get over now?
No, they'll try 1,000 ideas, and if one gets it right, they'll pat themselves on the back, but they're just lucky.
Right.
It really comes down to the individual and who it is that they're given the opportunity to. That guy is a freak. And, you can't teach somebody to be like that. He just has to be, that weird way out character.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that a lot of the stuff he does was like his own idea, like eating the worms.
Yeah.
I said on here. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say that's what makes a great character is what they bring to the table. It's not, not some comic book geek putting pen to paper and saying, "Oh, this will get over."
Yeah, I said on here a bunch of times. I think they really need to sell gummy worms, Boogeyman gummy worms. at the arenas. I think that would really sell
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the kids, they'd be gnawing on those gummy worms.
Brother, we'll sell 1 million of them. Let's go into business together. Come on.
All right. You got another question from Nestor Ford?
Humongous. He wants to know where his Hulk Hogan T-shirt is. He won from Bite This when he did Outthink the Fink.
Ah. Oh, it's in the mail.
I think he won it like 3 weeks ago.
You should call in to Bite This right now, and wait a minute. Oh, no, they got kicked off the air.
You miss doing Bite This?
Do I miss it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a blast. That was fun. I mean, that was one of the best times of my week, was being able to sit there and do that show and say whatever I wanted. Nobody really paid attention to me. It was great.
Did there ever come a time when they started to pay attention? Did you ever get in, trouble for anything you said on there?
No, the only time they ever really paid attention was when Steve Austin went off and said what he said about the writers, and then it turned into a good thing. They got more attention to the show. We did a lot of controversial stuff on there. We really pushed the envelope as much as possible and let the guys be themselves, and I thought we entertained the fans, and at the same time, we didn't overly smarten up the non-smart. We let the fans who wanted to talk about the outcomes of matches before they happen, and we said it in kind of layman's terms that everybody can, and that was what was difficult.
I'll get another caller here. Who is this?
This is Buck.
Hey, Buck, what's going on?
Hey,
You're on air with Kevin Kelly?
All right. Well, Kevin, first of all, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your work on Voice of Wrestling.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've listened to every one of your segments since you started doing it. I just wanted to ask you about Carlito. Do you think that he could be a huge star?
Yes and no, and that's a terrible answer, but I think that there's something holding him back, and I've always wondered if it's him holding him back, because the first thing that I heard about Carly before he started was, man, I don't know, his heart just really isn't in the business. And he, is that the reason why he's just sort of coasting in the middle? I think he has all the talent in the world, and it's much the same as an underachieving #1 draft pick who runs a 4.40 and, is 6'4", 280, and you wonder why he only has 2 sacks. I don't know if Love is truly in the business. Sometimes he may go through the motions. He doesn't do a whole lot. He doesn't have to do a whole lot to get over. And I think if he ever decided that this is what he really wanted to do, he could be the man.
Well, you think that the creative team would really get behind him and push him to his potential?
I think so, especially on SmackDown. And I wonder, why he's not over there, because with the broadcast, with that being on broadcast as opposed to cable, there's a large Hispanic audience that watches only on broadcast. The numbers are significantly higher. And in markets like LA and Chicago and New York, you're talking about millions of people. And if he's given the opportunity to really connect on the mic with those fans, you're talking about an expanding fan base. That's one of the reasons why Eddie Guerrero was given the ball over on SmackDown, because of the ratings potential and growth. It's a good opportunity for anyone, Hispanic or African American, because of the demographics of broadcast versus cable television.
Do you think that's the best use of him in the tag team at Mania?
No, it's a terrible use of him. How come he's not the friggin' main Money in the Bank?
Yeah, definitely. That made no sense. They brought, he was the guy who brought it up, and he lost, and I just figured it was going to lead to some kind of angle with him and Flair, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, I don't know why. The stuff with Masters and him, was entertaining last Monday. I don't get a vibe from Masters at all. I don't feel anything that he does.
No.
And, I think it's a waste of Charlie's talent.
Do you have another question, Intra?
Let's see here. Sub-Zero, he wants to know if you think the TNA announcers are better than the WWE.
No, I don't think so. I think TNA does a good job, but TNA's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way when it comes to selling the emotion of an angle. It says things that I don't necessarily. What are you doing? Take it off. Did you do your thing? No. I'm talking to somebody off the air here, fellas.
All right. We'll just talk amongst ourselves. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the Don West. do you think about the Don Wrestling thing?
I'm beating somebody up here outside the college here.
Oh, man.
Take care.
There's actually a question about that on the message board, and they want to know. We'll ask you whenever he comes back here.
All right. Well, maybe we can get that on air. We can hear Kevin Kelly laying the smack down on somebody.
Yeah, so we got to be quiet.
Yeah. Hit him with a tire iron.
It's a big offensive weapon. What the hell is all that?
I don't know. We got a caller here. Tell your kids in the background to be quiet.
Yeah, I tried. Not my kids.
Oh, okay.
Okay, ask your question, dude.
Quick question. Can you tell us about ribs or ring rat stories?
On the air?
Sure.
Is this on broadcast? Are we on the
We're on the internet. We're on the internet.
Just on the internet?
Yeah.
Oh.
We just have to let you go, Jobber. You can listen to it on here because you get a lot of feedback in the back.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, I don't want to, where to begin? There's so many stories. Of course, one of the first ribs that I was ever part of was Mark Henry, who had broken his ankle when he was training back in 1996. And, he had signed for all this money, and all the boys were hot, he was getting paid more than anybody else, and he was due for the mark when he first came in, and it was like, oh my gosh. So he's there on his crutches, and I guess he sent somebody out. We were down in Daytona Beach, Florida. He sent somebody out for Subway. And he brings back 2-foot-long subs for him. And, he's on his crutches and stuff like that. So they said, Kevin, talk to Mark for a few minutes. Okay, so I'm making small talk with Mark. And all of a sudden I see the sandwiches are taken away. So I thought that was the end of it. They were just going to play some ha-ha with him like that. Well, apparently they went back and they added a non-menu item to his sandwiches. Not something you're going to find on any restaurant menu.
Right.
And apparently the brown substance that was in there didn't deter Mark at all from eating every bite of both sandwiches.
Oh my God!
Was it cardboard?
No.
Oh.
A little softer and a little browner.
I don't. That says something bad about Mark or Subway sandwiches.
I'm not sure. Obviously, Mark just was inhaling them and didn't even take time to notice what he was eating. But as far as rats are concerned, every hotel, Chicago right now is probably sinking into Lake Michigan with the number of rats that are in town. The old axiom is that you can tell when the business is hot when the quality of rats that are at the hotel after the show improves.
Right.
When you're not drawing money, it's nothing but ugly chicks as far as the eye can see. But, when the money starts coming in and the boys are over, man, you can tell because the rats are out in force and they all look good. Do
backstage announcers get a lot of ring rats?
No, the one trade-off, of course, is that it pretty much stops with the talent. Although the referees do get their fair share, but they sort of do get the scraps. So it's difficult. You're not going to see, Mike Chioda with a grade A rat on his arm. But then again, that's not necessarily his taste or preference. So that's fine.
Right. We'll leave that one.
Some guys like the ugly girls.
Right. Oh, I thought you were going in a different direction.
No. Different strokes for different folks.
Oh, okay.
Hambone from our message board, going back to the fight thing, he wants to know, could you take Howard Finkel?
Where would you want me to take him?
Just take him out, man.
Just in a fight.
No, I couldn't do that.
Oh, man.
If it's straight up one-on-one, of course, I'm knocking him out. But, I could never do that to the Fink because I love the Fink. He's awesome.
I think he's just trying to get revenge for not sending that shirt to Hugh.
Yeah, it's again, I grew up down in Florida, and of course, I'm a young child. I'm there watching him and Harvey Whippleman roll around in a pseudo-erotic tuxedo match. It was like, ugh. And, so I was branded an instant homophobe from that moment on.
Oh, man. I miss the Fink, though, and doing the ring announcers. I definitely think he's the best of all time. The best of all time, and I hope they use him at WrestleMania. Definitely. Have you had talks to work for TNA? When I got fired, that was the first call I placed. And I talked to him a couple times, and it just never really went anywhere. Mm-hmm. You'd like to, though.
Oh, sure. If the money's right, I'll do anything. I don't care. I don't see it happening. But
what would you like to?
I got a lot of other stuff going on, man. I'm busy. I work full time. I do shows that I really care about, like MXPW. I really care about this product, and I'm looking forward to coming down there on April 29th.
You still like working in the wrestling business?
Oh, sure. I'll never stop. It's in my blood. I've written it off on a number of occasions. I've publicly come out and said I retire. And, that a wrestling retirement is only as long as as soon as you put send on the email, it's like, all right, I'm ready to get back. Because everybody who retires ultimately gets back in because it's in your blood.
Right. Do you think it was bad for the wrestling business and for the wrestlers and all the talent when WWE bought WCW?
No, because I think historically it will wind up being the best thing because the WWE really cares about the library, and that was the true asset that was bought in that sale. I mean, let's face it, the company was going out of business. Mm-hmm. They were losing their TV slot, and it was going to be liquidated. And the fact that a wrestling company bought the wrestling library and got it for a song now gives us the opportunity as fans to be able to relive these moments for years on DVDs and 24/7 and things like that. So I'm kind of glad they did in a way. WCW was overdone and finished when Vince bought it for pennies on the dollar. So no, it's a good thing.
Somebody wrote in and wanted to know about your feud with Bob Ryder on Wrestling Radio with Jeremy Borash.
It was fun. It was interesting because at that time it was really something to talk about. The high moral ground that Bob was taking and the fact that he was accusing us in the WWF then of being purveyors of porn and all this and that, all these things evil. And I always felt like he was just a shill for WCW anyway, and he had no credibility. So. It was an opportunity to get on there and verbally bash somebody and then, bask in the glow afterward. Unfortunately, it was like punching a guy with no arms. He's not going to hit you back. It's like he was defenseless. He couldn't compete.
You have another question from the message board, intro?
Let's see. Duckman, he wants to know, are you scared of The Rock?
Why? Is he here?
He's not here right now.
We wish.
Hell no, I'm not scared of him. No, he's awesome. He's awesome. Out of all the memories that I do have of that, those are working with The Rock, of course, was some of the fun. It was awesome, and I show like people that I work with now at the radio station. I brought the DVD, and and there's me picking my nose, and worldwide TV, and
right.
Immortalized on DVD. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe that, And what do? You just laugh. It was so campy and so much fun. And to look back on that, it's one of the most proudest moments of my career.
Do people still ever call you Hermie?
All the time. All the time.
So you won't?
It started 8 years ago, and
right.
I haven't been on since 2001, and here we are in 2006, and people still call me that.
Oh,
they
okay.
think it's funny.
Yeah, so you won't be offended if I call this the Double Hermie Show, because we actually have another Hermie later on the show.
I'm friggin' hot now. I'm pissed off because Hermie Sadler's coming on here.
Yes, he is, actually, at 8 o'clock.
Of course, there's 2 Hermies in the world, and I got to feel proud. And I love the fact that Hermie Sadler is getting in there and helping TNA. I think it's great.
Are you a fan of NASCAR?
I am. I'll watch it occasionally. I'm not a passionate follower, but I do appreciate it for being a sport and for being a true athletic contest because I know the guys go through a lot to survive in those cars. And when you see the wreck in the IndyCar series last weekend, you realize just how dangerous what they do is. And I've always liked the rebel kind of side of NASCAR and appreciated the fact that, they kind of will do anything they can to cheat and bend the rules and break the rules wherever they can. Every NASCAR driver is a heel, okay? Even the biggest baby faces are heels because they're just heels that haven't gotten caught yet. Everybody cheats in NASCAR. Make sure you ask Hermie Sadler how many times he's cheated.
All right.
How many times has he cheated to get his race car the way he wants it?
Do you think there's a crossover audience for NASCAR and wrestling?
Sure. There's a big crossover audience. One thing with NASCAR is that those fans are loyal and they're passionate. And if you can tap into that market, then you will gain loyal, passionate fans. It doesn't hurt NASCAR. It doesn't hurt wrestling. It's win-win, and I think that the relationship can only help TNA grow, especially in a live event market. And if they can pair up with races and go around the country and set up in new towns where NASCAR is nearby, then that's great.
When you talked about the Hermie thing earlier, I remember reading in the Observer at the time, they were saying they were making you look terrible on TV and all this stuff, and it made it seem like you didn't want to do it. What do you think of the Observer and the newsletters?
Well, they were right, because at the time I didn't want to do it. At the time I thought it was stupid, and I was striving for the announcers to have credibility. And I always felt like if a backstage announcer constantly gets pushed and shoved out of the shot, and always has to ask stupid questions and never gets to say anything credible, then what's the point of having it there? So at the time I was like, no, I don't feel it, I don't believe it. Why? And then eventually I got it, and I realized, okay, if it was an ego thing, I'll put my ego aside to do this, because it's me working with The Rock. I still think that the announcers need to have more credibility. And the fact that the announcers always have to ask stupid questions, but yet are described as lead storytellers, they're not. They're lead buffoons, because the fans at home are ultimately smarter than the announcers, because the announcers have to be deprogrammed to not sell the angle too fast and don't give it away. You're supposed to lead the audience in the right direction, but leading the audience in the right direction by asking the stupid, obvious question, what is this going to mean, that's retarded, and it's ridiculous. So I think the announcers need to be more credible, and the Observer was right. I have no problem with, dirt sheets and the internet and all that stuff. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, we've had him on a few times. He's a good guy.
Yeah, Meltzer's fine. Does a good job, man. He knows a hell of a lot more about this business than I do.
Did you ever think you were going to get the lead announcer's job on either SmackDown or Raw?
I did. I thought I was going to be SmackDown's guy, and it didn't happen. And ultimately, I was thinking about that last night. I had, they wanted me, okay, Kevin, we want you to really look great for TV. Okay, so I lost a ton of weight, look great for TV, just doing everything they asked of me. SmackDown comes around, figured I'd get the shot. No, it didn't happen. And so that was one of the biggest disappointments that I had while I was there. Felt like I deserved it, didn't get it. My attitude suffered. I got all the weight, I didn't really care anymore. And that's kind of the way that goes.
Do you do more than commentary for MXPW? Do you do any booking or anything behind the scenes?
No, for MXPW, man, the only thing I get to do is sit down and call some great wrestling matches. Casey does a fantastic job. He's got a great team around him. That's why I think this promotion is really going to start to make some waves here in the upcoming year. I mean, when you look at the quality of guys, and I mean quality, when you talk about Chaz, who doesn't work anywhere else, and Hack Myers, who's a legend, who was just on your show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's
a legend. And Blackheart, and on and on and on. He's able to bring in guys like Ron Bass. Ron Bass goes to TNA and gets disrespected in the locker room. But Ron Bass comes to the MXPW locker room and gets treated like the star that he is, because the boys that work there have the respect for the business, because the office has the respect for the business. I'm not saying that TNA doesn't,
right.
But there's a mindset that comes from the top down. So you have to realize that, ultimately that it is important to treat veterans with respect. And, that spoke volumes to me about the quality. I always knew Casey was a top-notch guy. I've known him for years. And when he told me he was going to start doing this, I knew he could be successful at it. It's taken a couple of incarnations along the way. It hasn't been a straight road for him, but I think now they got the ship going in the right direction, and this is really going to be, I think, the kickoff to a huge year for MXPW.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fellas, they're giving me the high sign inside. I got to go back on the air and sell some more auction items.
All right, we'll let you go. Could you give us a quick outliner for the website?
It's
inyourheadonline.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Kevin Kelly. That's right. You know me as Hermie. I was the guy who was picking my nose and being embarrassed by The Rock. But now I'm telling you, what you need to do is log on to inyourheadonline.com.
Awesome. Wow, thank you so much.
Yep. You joined Terry Funk as the only two guys who've done it live.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in great company then.
Right.
Fellas, thank you very much for the time. Please have me back on. I'd love to come on and talk with you again. If we can do one more right before MXPW's event on April 29th, I would be honored.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd love to have you back anytime.
Okay,
thanks, man.
Thank you guys.
I really appreciate it.
Bye.
Good luck in the auction.
Hey, this is Sean Oliver from Kayfabe Commentary. It's the most innovative shoot-style DVD company in the world, and I implore you to listen to IYH Wrestling.com, the most innovative wrestling podcast on radio.